iyo utabifite guhagarika cyo gutangira wowe uritangira kubera iki? Why don't you just move? Bimwe mwita kurasa ku ntego, ntimukarase hafi ku ntego, keep straight. That's what go for it. Nawe wumva uri satisfied uko sibyo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sand. Now, let me take you to something else. I'm sure you can guess. It's now the other politics other than RPFs. Geopolitics, regional or whatever, because it affects us as well a lot. Reka ntangirane just a little story. Tito Rutaremara, are you here? I want to know where you are around. I want to tell the story. You know, in actual fact, igihugu cyacu kivuye kure. Ewe, ntikiravayo neza. Turacyavayo. Acyari byinshi. Impamvu mvuze Tito, it's a bit of our history ijyanye na what happened to us, the genocide, the tragedy. I want to build on it to tell you some other things. The genocide that happened, there are indications of things that happened as far back as the 60s. That continued. Nubwo, we also have people who would say it's an exaggeration, really nothing happened. Or what happened, I think, was bound to happen or should have happened. We still have that conversation, unfortunately. But I wanted to say something. I don't say it a lot. It comes to my mind once in a while. Tito, you were one of those twari kumwe in 1991 in Paris. Munama na Paul de Joux. There's a name I cannot forget. Ariko ndibuka bihozagara, ndibuka wari uhari nawe cyane.
Oya, ariko ahubwo naje mbere.
Twarahagusanze. Niyo mpamvu nabaga confused. Abo najyanye nabo mu nama ni bande? Ari bihozagara
wari wazanye na doctor.
Nande?
Dr. Ndahiro.
Dr. Ndahiro, but I remember we were like 5 people. Okay, but at least we told you the story immediately after the meeting.
Yes, I remember.
Sit down. 2 things happened. And I'm saying this because recently something else came up that was a bit disturbing. We were invited, RPF, to go to Paris. We were supposed to meet some people from Habyarimana's government. It was about, according to what we were told, to talk about peace. In fact, the RPF for which I was chairman, vice chairman then, insisted I should not go. Because they are saying, you know, with all these things happening, and that was 91 September. Was it 91 or 92? 91 September.
The end of 91.
Eh?
The end of 91.
Yes, it was particularly, I remember, 71 September, I think it was 22nd. So the people insisted I should not go because there was chaos, they even thought they were worried about my security and so on and so forth. So, but I insisted, I told our people in a meeting, which was very people, I said, you know, if we don't go, and they, by the way, they insisted I should be the one to come. But I said, no, but you have the chairman, so maybe you should be the one to come. He said, no, we want you. And that's what caused some worry. They said I shouldn't. But I insisted. I said, I'm going. Because if I don't go, if we don't show up, we will never be understood. They think we are just there fighting and we don't want peace. So I went there. A couple of things, quickly, I got something else. When we arrived, we had a meeting. It was in the morning. I met a couple of people. One was a man who was, I think, a Director General in Foreign Affairs in France. And that man was called Paul de. I followed him. He even later on became ambassador to Mexico, then went somewhere, and then he's now an old man like me. He's 90, must be 90 something, 96 or something. So when we met, I met him, I met Mitterrand's son. I was almost beaten up for not pronouncing the name well. I'll tell you that. So in the meeting, this man, Paul Dejoux, kept poking his finger in my face. You must stop fighting. So I tried to explain. I said, you see, it's not that we enjoy fighting. We are not fighting just because we like fighting. we are fighting because I went into the history and so on. So he insisted again. Then in the conversation, it got heated up. I actually got a little bit upset. I answered back in a way. Then he said, no, you must stop fighting, because if you don't, you know, even if you take Kigali, you will not find your people. This is what he told him in a meeting. So at first I couldn't understand, I didn't understand what this man meant. You will not find your people. But directly it meant they will be killed. So anyway, the meeting happened, got finished. It was not a good meeting. And as we were going out, he accompanied us in the corridor, and then he said, hope to meet you next time when, but he was being sarcastic, when you are the commander of the new army of Rwanda. I said, yes, sir. I said, if If and when that happens, you rest assured I will do a good job of it. This is what I told him. So I went, when I was supposed to stay a night and leave the next day, so in the hotel where I was sleeping, I think we were in Hilton Hotel. I was with Ndahiro and Tom Byabagamba. So in the middle of the night at around 4 a.m., I woke up to this light in the room and about 6, 7 people in the room with guns. They were not putting on uniform, they were putting on jackets and so on and so forth. And I woke up, I said, who are you? What's going on? Then one of them say, he spoke in English. You hear him, he's even speaking English. So I was in the wrong place, first of all. Then they said, who are you? So say, where are your documents? Bring your briefcase. Before I opened it, they had broken it. So but I kept asking, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Then as I was doing that, when I looked through the door connecting to the room where Dr. Ndahiro and Tom Byabagamba were staying, I saw they were sitting down in handcuffs. For me, they didn't put me in handcuffs. So I asked them, what's going on? They, a bit rough, but so they took us, dumped us somewhere in prison. I didn't know. It was my first time to be in Paris, and my first time to be in prison. So, hopefully the last. Since that time, I haven't been to any other prison. So they put us in the lock somewhere down in the basement of some building and left us there. Then later on, people showed up around 3 o'clock. In fact, why I remember that Bihozagara was around, they didn't know where we had been taken. I don't know how. They were assisted by some people in France whom they knew. Then we saw Jacques Rabunal and Bihozagara. There was a very good friend of ours called Carbonal, a French guy. They showed up in that basement in the prison because I think they had known where we were and they had tried to give us food. I refused to eat. I told them I'm not going to eat anything in that prison. So they brought us bread, I remember, and milk, pints of milk and bread for us, because we had refused to eat prison food. Then they even wanted to interrogate us. Well, they did. They wanted to to use a polygraph on me, the lie detector. I refused. I told them I'm not going to have a lie detector at all. I said, if they want to kill me there, then go ahead. In the end, they say, whom did you meet? I mentioned that man. Then said, who else? I said, Christopher Mitterrand. He said, no. Who told you he's called Jacques Christopher Mitterrand? So, so they told me, repeat. I said, no, I'm not going to repeat. I said, I'm not the one who gave him his names. But, so anyway, in the end, at around 8 o'clock, they released us, and that night I left. I drove from Paris to Brussels, where I was to take a plane the next day and come back home. Now, I'm telling you this story. The fact that somebody actually implied that something happened to our people, meaning even if you take Kigali, you will not find your people there. You will not find them alive. Then later on, connecting that with the history, with what happened eventually, I could not but conclude that was the meaning. They were privy to what was going to happen. Now, in the most recent thing, we may now switch to something next to us and the recent. And, you know Rwanda has had many problems in the region, and especially with the Congo, for all these years. Actually, said we are here as almost all the 32 years have been problematic. And when you look at the story, these genociders who went to Congo, by the way, whom we had the opportunity this last time, when was it, 2 weeks ago, or how many weeks? When you had a Unity Club event here, this same room, when people who went through all that history, these senior commanders of FDLR, when one of them sitting there told us a very comprehensive, interesting story, because he was there, he was in it. For him, he was not saying things he just heard from some people or anything, no. He was part of it. He told us all the places he moved to in Congo, and the officials he worked with, and colleagues who up to this day have been integrated in the armies and other institutions in Congo, and he named them by names. He told us the story of even how he went to Burundi and everything he did there, and the names of people who did what, who are still there, who left, or something. He's an encyclopedia on this. And he actually was part of it. Those who must have, who were here saw it or saw it on television. And he has notebooks, he has pictures, he has evidence, later on which. But forget about all that. The story has always been, and he told us, you remember, he told us even of the connivance of the UN, the peacekeepers. Yes, they worked with, they were selling gold together, they were involved in the timber business, in agriculture, and named places, people, and where. It's just so. But despite all that, up to this day, you will hear people say, FDLR don't exist. the UN, there's something, there are some experts, groups of, a group of experts. They'll tell you all those stories. This story doesn't exist. Or if they say it, they will say it so lightly that you should believe it doesn't matter. Okay. So it goes on, and then some of these leaders in the region, in Congo or Burundi, they say it publicly, how and on which side they are. And their intention, and even what they have said on camera, somebody will want to convince you, no, it's not him. It's not them. It's some advisors. No, but he said it. Whether it is an advisor who wrote it on a paper and the president read it, it is no longer advisor, it is the man who read the thing. So they will keep telling you this. So now, not even for a bit, I don't believe, ordinarily, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I really don't. But when you have people, who are there asking the same questions, pretending it's saying the same things, and even when they come back to you and tell you what they told you last time, meaning they want you to believe what they are telling you, or what they want, not the facts you're presenting to them. So it's really like saying, better change your mind and start seeing it like I see it. Anyway, all this has resulted into what we have now. And I also want to remind you, and then I've said it again, but I hope you have had time to cross-check the story, the truth about it. This conflict we have in Eastern Congo did not start from and was not started by Rwanda at all. But somehow the plan, I think, before was to make it a problem of Rwanda or for Rwanda. Again, to tie into the story, to connect with the whole story of where everything that has happened is not anybody else, it is Rwanda that caused it, or that must carry the responsibility. That, I think that needs somehow in your minds or whatever, or by gathering facts, that problem needs to be settled. This has not been our war. We didn't cause it, and it did not originate from here by any means. We are not part of the origin, except for being associated with the saying, oh, this is M23, the story that was there 2012, and for 10 years it was not addressed, it comes back, still it comes to be our own problem. But the same people, in fact, one time we were in Nairobi, we had a meeting with the heads of state at the beginning of this conflict. I had opportunity to ask President Tshisekedi in the same meeting. I said, President, how has this become Rwanda's problem? How has it become? This is not anything started by us or from Rwanda. Why? he just hesitated, and I told him, I asked him, I said, are you aware of the fact that actually that whole rural areas, those areas around, have more or less been taken over by FDLR, and they even marks and collect taxes? He hesitated and said, yeah, he has heard about it. This was his answer to me. He said, so what do you think FDLR is there doing? And why do you allow them to be there? And we have asked you to work with you to address that problem together. You have refused. Now, before that was over, another president offered an explanation, and where those people originated from when they went to fight in Eastern Congo, saying it came from started from his country. So, and every time I brought up this issue with the people, I said, why did you make this Rwanda's problem? It is not Rwanda's problem, it is the problem of Congo and their own people, and it only becomes our problem when it comes to FDLR that must be sorted out. One way or the other, either you sort it out, you Congolese, or the UN that is employed there, and there are thousands, you address that problem and stop them from invading our country, or we will sort it out ourselves. Eventually, that's how we went into this matter. Now, to the recent things. Whatever happened in between, I try to cut a very long story short. A lot of manipulations started happening. They would call us one day in one capital, they would call us to Rwanda, we go there, we discuss things and raise the things the way we thought should be addressed. That one doesn't work well, then next time we are invited to go to Doha, then we go to Doha, then next time we go to Washington. And in between, we went to Dar es Salaam, Nairobi, we went wherever, talking about this. But there was one thing that was constant. Congo, or the leaders of Congo, didn't want peace. They wanted to continue supporting FDLR against us. In fact, later on, they were joined by some other countries' armies. You know the story about Goma and Bukavu and so on and so forth. So, but we told them, just help us deal with FDLR, and for us, we will not. But in the end, something came up. By the way, you should also, it's like even now when we talk about removing defensive measures and so on and so forth, which I'll come to later, they say Rwandan troops must pull out of Congo and so on. So we say yes. You know, for many of these people who pretend, they actually, by that, they mean that even M23 will be pulled back into Rwanda. That's something hidden behind. It's like they expect us to be receiving M23 here. Now, that goes into a long debate. Whether or not, and how these people are Congolese or not. That's now. And I always tell them, no, this is a story of me, because how they became Congolese how whatever happened in Congo and between Congo and Rwanda as of those years, I was not. So I don't know. I cannot be asked to answer for colonial times problems. I was not there. And Rwanda is not responsible for that. Now we're going to the last thing we went to when you went to Washington, and which the whole process has resulted into sanctioning Rwanda, sanctioning RDF, sanction. It's just sanctions, sanctions, sanctions. And someone to tell them, say, wait a minute, let's understand each other. What's going on? And there is no time. There's no time for Rwanda to be listened to. It's just sanctions. The sanctions, that's what we said, that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. Now, before we went to DRC, to DC, Washington, DC, on 4th of December to sign an agreement. A couple of months before that, we had been actually giving information of what was going to happen in Uvira, owing to the troops that were moving there from Burundi and the Congolese army and what they intended to do and so on and so forth. We gave them everything. They know it. You can't deny it. It is on record. It is in writing. So when Uvira fell, then they got an opportunity to say, okay, you know what? Let's frame it as Rwanda literally insulting President Trump and defying Washington and disrespectful. They didn't. So they are the ones who caused the Uvira. And we told them, so this Uvira was, we forewarned you about Uvira 2 months before signing the agreement. Said, how can you hold us responsible for this? Then, initially I thought the initiative they had brought up of saying, you know, they want to resolve the problem of, first of all, the political problem internally, then the security problem that concerns Rwanda and the region, then the economic partnerships between US, DRC, Rwanda, and the region. I said, you know, I thought this was a wonderful thing. We really embraced it. We said, oh, this is something. But little did we know, we had actually been just set up for something else. Because in the middle of it, there came a story. It is, you know, what we want to achieve is no M23, no FDLR, and we just walk to the mines and that's it. But we told them in our discussions, we kept telling the people, we said, fine, but you will do whatever you want to do. But how do you just expect these fighting for their own rights, these Congolese, FCM23 and others, they are on the ground fighting, the others are fighting politically all over the place, as you have seen, including the religious leaders and so on and so forth. I said, how do you just all of a sudden think you will wish away all of this without actually addressing some of the root causes? They said, no, 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 because we can't. Oh, then the mercenaries came in. These are the second round of mercenaries. You know, there are first mercenaries who even came through here and were transported back. Other mercenaries came in the background, and they were the ones, somehow they converge with the policy on the region and resolving this problem. They are the ones dictating, and I think these are the ones who are supposed to finish. But this, while the initial thing was to finish FDLR and finish M23, this time it has become finishing M23, not FDLR. FDLR because they are working with the same people and working with the government of Congo. Now, all these facts, they are known. But the complication of this, the world politics and the geopolitics, is that there are people who think they just dictate what the truth should be and what should happen, and for the rest you just shut up. That's what is going on. Today what is going on is if you raise an argument, you say, oh, you know what, I'm going to sanction you. that is the argument. Now, something I shouldn't forget, I said I was going to, because of the story I brought up earlier. In the recent weeks and months, we have heard of the killings and the fighting that has been going on in a place called Minembwe, around the Minembwe area. This is a place home to some Banyamulenge or some other. What is disturbing? At the beginning, when even in our argument, when we told them what is really happening on the ground and telling the people how, telling the powers that be what was going on, and say people are being killed, they are being, drones were firing at them indiscriminately. In markets, in churches, many people died. Maybe, hopefully one day people will go there and investigate and will find the truth. But what was disturbing was that in that same conversation and argument, somebody says, don't bring up that issue, it is none of your business. So which for me looks like, it's like the story of Paul de Joux. It's like that those people being killed for their identity and anything is none of your business. Shut up, we are going to kill them anyway. I mean, I'm just calling a spade a spade. It's like, shut up, it's none of your business. They didn't even say, are you sure they're being killed? Or are you creating a story or what? No, it's like, that's none of your concern. But if it is not my concern, maybe it should be yours. Why are you not concerned? And things keep getting worse and out of control every time. So where we are now, we just told, remove your defensive measures. Whether we are associated with and helping FDLR, with the Congolese army and the government to do whatever they want, and then in exchange you have whatever you want, just shut up. This is what we are being told. But making people shut up, just shut up, I think it's going to be probably more difficult than people think. To say we will support those who want to come and kill you, or like they killed you last time, or we will handle it the way we want, so shut up. Well, I only shut up when I'm dead. That's when I'm coming. Absolutely. That is the only way to make me shut up. That's it. For the belittling everything and making it look like some people's lives are just maybe, I don't know. It's not my politics. It's not RPF's politics. We're a small country, very insignificant in many ways. You can do much harm to us, granted, but boy, wishing us away is not a big thing, is not a small thing. Wishing us away just to say disappear. They were saying they will make disappear FDR, they make disappear M23. By extension, they were saying even you, Rwanda, will make you disappear. Well, I can't invite it. I can't wish to have such a thing. But when it comes, when I have not been able to avoid it, I think they'll find. I only wish you people, you people, I'm not worried about myself. I just worry about you if you just go home and sleep and think you'll find everything on the table for you without having to invest in it. If you are there waiting for handouts, or for people to do you a favor so that you can live, very sad and absurd, and it will be a lot of our time and value wasted. I hope that will not happen. And for that, I wish everybody well and a very good meeting, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.